Dzień dobry. Mam na imię Patrycja. So welcome to Patty's Kitchen, and today we're going to do a fun activity of learning how to make a lamb cake. So we'll use a little bit of art and a little bit of math and a lot of eating, and it will be delicious. So you can do this with any type of cake, but today I'm going to show you how to do a lamb cake using a mold. So it has a top and a bottom to the mold. We will also need some type of cake mix. So you can use anything at home that you want. Today we're going to use a chocolate cake mix, and for that we will need water, oil, and 3 eggs. So in the European system, I wrote down for you that would be 225 milliliters of water, 75 milliliters of oil, and 3 eggs. And in the English system, if you're using English measuring devices, that's the same as 1 cup of water, 1/3 cup of oil, which you can do by melting some butter, and 3 eggs, the same. And so what we're going to do first is prepare the pan. So the way you prepare a pan, it's very important. This is a very important step in order for the cake to be able to come out of the pan. So we'll spray the pan, or you can spread it with your fingers. Some cooking spray. And if you have any butter or something and you'd rather not use spray, you can just spread it around with your fingers. But here's the important step. You take some flour, and on top of the moist pan, you put flour so that it sticks. Shake it around so that it sticks to the pan after you have greased the pan. So greasing and flouring the pan is a very important step. And I've already done the other side. The other thing that's important to understand when you're using a cake mold is that one of the pieces of the cake is the bottom and one is the top. So this is the bottom, and the way you know the top is that one of the pans will have a hole in it. You see this hole? So that hole lets the steam come out of the cake as it's cooking. And you will see when we fill the cake with the cake mix, we will fill only half, and it will cook up into the top pan. So you only fill half of the lamb, the bottom half. I'll show you that in a minute. So what we're going to do now we'll take our cake mix in the bowl, put in our 3 eggs and the water, and I've pre-measured all these to make it a little easier for you, and the oil. And we'll blend that together. The important thing is to mix the air into the batter, because that is what helps the batter rise in the oven. So I'm using a whisk to incorporate air through these wrist motions. You can also use an automatic mixer, but we're not doing that today. We're just doing it by hand. And as I said before, you can use any cake mix, any recipe from your mother, from babchu, anything that you want, and fill the pan with that mix after it's prepared. Now I'm going to get ready to put it in the pan. Now that we have our batter mixed, we're going to get ready to put it into the pan. One important step is to remember that you need to prepare your oven and make sure that it has time to get hot while you're getting your batter ready. So make sure you have your oven ready to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit you're going to bake it for about 30 minutes, but prepare the oven at 350 degrees. The other thing you should have ready is we're going to have more mix than we need for the lamb. So I always get a few oven pans ready just to make some what we call cupcakes. So small cakes, małe ciasto. So the trick to making this work is, again, you take the pan side that does not have the hole, that's the bottom of the lamb, and you pour the dough into the lamb. So the most important thing is to be careful not to overfill the pan. And I'll turn the pan so that you can see it here in just a moment, but I have plenty of cake left. I'll be able to make 1 or 2 cupcakes from this. And I use my spatula to spread the dough around the cake batter in such a way that it's somewhat even. So as you can see, the pan is nearly full. Then you take the lamb that has the hole in it. Make sure I always tap out the extra flour so there's not too much flour in the pan. And the way these are made, you can just set them right on top of the bottom half of the pan. And we'll put it in the oven just like so, and the cake will cook up into the other pan, and we'll have a 3-dimensional cake when it's finished baking in about a half an hour. And just before I put that in the oven, I'm going to prepare these last few cupcakes with the extra dough. This is fun because you can then use these cupcakes, these small cakes, to put around the lamb once it's finished. You can hold. So remember, now I'm going to put the pans into the oven, 350, 30 minutes. See you when it's done. Okay, here we go. We're going to put the lamb into the oven, and we'll put the cupcakes in with the lamb. And the important thing to know is that you can actually do this with any type of cake. It could be a lamb, but it could be another type of pan too. Probably, since the lamb is very traditional in our Polish traditions, you may have some other Polish traditions besides the lamb. And I'll bet that if you do have the lamb in your tradition, you probably have a lamb cake mold somewhere in your family, someone's kitchen that you maybe could borrow. We'll see you when it's done. Okay, when the cake comes out of the oven, we're going to do our magic now. You let it cool for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Very carefully lift the top off the mold. And voila, you have your lamb cake. So you need to be very careful with the lamb cake and make sure that the cake is separated from the side of the mold all the way around, especially near the head. And I'm going to separate the cake from the mold. The cake will still be warm, and you need to make sure that you let the cake cool all the way before you start putting any icing on the cake. So we have the lamb cake, and we're going to make 4 little baskets out of this, 4 cupcakes with the extra cake dough. You can use any kind of icing you want. I'm going to focus today on just using a white fluffy icing, and then we will decorate the lamb cake. What I do is I put a little bit of icing on the dish to stabilize the cake, to make the cake stay well on the dish before you decorate. Now I'll do the icing, and I'm going to assume that the light and everything is good. A little more light. And today I'm using some white icing. You can use any kind of icing you want. You can use chocolate or vanilla. Today we're using vanilla. I usually ice the back of the cake first. Then we're going to, you'll see in a moment, as soon as I put the rest of the icing on here, we're going to sprinkle coconut. So I have coconut. This makes the sheep look like it has fur. So this is what we're going to do. Put the icing first, and then the coconut, which will stick to the cake icing. As you finish the icing on your lamb, the next thing will be to take some coconut, and just as I have done with the cupcakes, make a little bit of coconut stick to the icing in such a way that it looks like fur on the lamb. Just a little bit. You don't need to completely cover him. We'll put a little bit on the front and a little bit on the back, and also around the top and around the face. And he has a suggestion also of 2 ears. So after you do the icing and you've applied the coconut the way you like it, I'll show you how you can add a few features to make him look more real. First, we'll have 2 eyes that you can do with raisins or currants, or even a little piece of brown or black candy. And for the nose, a little cherry. I cut the cherry in half. Put him in like that. And then on each of your eggs, put 1 egg on the top of each of your cupcakes. We have blue and purple and pink, the blue. Okay, and then you can also put them along the base. And that way, when you're finished, you'll have 4 cupcakes and a finished lamb. And you can actually, if you stay with me a minute longer, you can do any kind of cake like this. You can even make a round cake and shape it like a football or for soccer. You can do it for athletics, you can do it for holidays, and you can do it just for fun. So this is an example of a lamb cake that we use for Easter and for Christmas. I hope you enjoy it.